it slow. Wait for them to ask you who you know.
So McGregor came back looking sensational, destroyed Cowboy, walked through him like he was nothing. He felt he was a little overzealous in there, and it probably was the least patient McGregor we've seen. He opened up with a thunderous left hand. Cerrone ducked but didn't commit to a takedown. They clinch up and McGregor throws these wicked shoulder strikes, the last of which mangles Cerrone's face. I think Cerrone would have been quite happy for Herb to step in right there. They really caught him by surprise. Cowboy throws a high kick, Conor answers with a head kick of his own, rocks Cerrone, and it's all academic at that point. Conor floors him with a left. Moments later, the merciful Herb Dean intervenes. McGregor announced his return about as emphatically as he possibly could. It lasted 40 seconds, and the whole fight was a highlight. One of the best performances of his career, and obviously the most impressive he's looked since 2016. Cerrone didn't land a punch. I mean, even Aldo landed a punch, although he was already unconscious at that point. For 40 seconds, Conor looked like he wanted to wipe Cerrone off the face of the earth. All in all, though, these two Cowboys were much more brokeback than Tombstone, and they got right back to their bromance in the post-fight. McGregor was extremely complimentary of Cerrone, while Cowboy seemed preoccupied with the prospect of some red panties entering his life. Didn't appear overly upset. Almost seemed like a privilege, getting your head caved in by Conor McGregor. In a post-fight, Conor said he couldn't see another fighter getting KOs in 3 different weight classes.
I etch myself in history again with I don't think that's a record that can be achieved handily again, across 3 weight divisions. And
the internet quickly corrected him on that. Cannonier and Belfort both have KOs from middleweight to heavyweight. To be fair though, in his Octagon interview, McGregor did specify featherweight, lightweight, and welterweight, which is true. And even if he's not the first, it is quite the achievement. All in all, a triumphant return. I think Rogan captured the mood best when he echoed Conor's own statements from the last time he bounced back from a loss.
The king is back! The king is back! No doubt about it.
I know McGregor was looking to get some rounds in, but I think this type of demolition was great for his image. He looked like a destructive force of nature and powerful at the weight. It was a type of statement that made you think, hey, maybe he would have something for Masvidal, who himself is not a big welterweight.
I'm more than ready. I enjoy this division. I like this division. I don't think they're that big. They're a bit bigger, right? Okay. I think Donald's bigger than Jorge. I know Jorge has a win over Donald, but I think Donald's as big. Now, Jorge's a former lightweight, so I don't know what that Dana was saying. I'd like to see them on the scales right now tonight.
In the post-fight press conference, Dana was pretty adamant about a Khabib rematch.
Khabib's the fight to make. It's the fight that you make. It's the fight that makes sense. It's for the 155-pound title. I'm telling you right now, Khabib versus Conor is the biggest fight in the company's and the sports history, but I think it might rival Conor and Floyd.
But there's obviously a number of hurdles in place. First of all, Khabib has to beat Tony, which is the fight of his life. Tony might whoop his ass all over the place. And not only does Khabib have to come through it, but as Luke Thomas pointed out, Khabib has to come through it relatively unscathed to offer the type of quick turnaround McGregor's after. Tony obliterates guys, carves them up like a Christmas turkey. It's like fighting a swarm of razor blades. So even if Khabib makes it through, he might not be looking at a quick turnaround. And then there's a possibility he simply might not comply. Last November he said he is open to a rematch, but wants Conor to win 9 or 10 in a row. So Cerrone is 1 in a row. Khabib's father has since come out and said, yeah, we'll do the rematch, no problem. Easy peasy. $100 million, please. Dana called him up and say, hey, Khabib, we're thinking about the Conor McGregor. $100 million, Dana. So these guys are digging their heels in. And they're making some good points, by the way. First of all, Conor got pretty much squelched in their first fight. He hasn't won a fight at lightweight since 2016. The Cerrone fight at welterweight doesn't really have any bearing on lightweight, and there's more deserving contenders. So they are making reasonable points here. By the way, I don't think Khabib is afraid of a rematch. He mashed him up like a potato in the first fight. What I think is going on here is that they simply hate Conor. They don't want to give him anything he hasn't earned. And I'd have to imagine Khabib isn't going to invite another build-up like that. It got incredibly ugly. It seemed like a huge headache. Why revisit that? outside $100 million, of course. So I think all signs outside Dana point away from Khabib and towards Masvidal, who happened to be in attendance wearing McGregor's robe from the Floyd fight. Now, I think the build-up for Masvidal-McGregor would be magic. 2019 was Jorge's year, and one of the things that emerged about him is that he's surprisingly good in interviews, and especially in terms of creating catchy little memes and sound bites. You know, super necessary, 3-piece in a soda. People are quoting him all over the place. But my favorite soundbite of Jorge's for the entire year was after he won the BMF belt, where he very quietly, completely dismissed McGregor as a fighter. He was asked about Conor's comeback, and he was like, come back to what?
Conor McGregor said that he is going to come back January 18th. And Dana White said...
Come back to what?
To MMA, to the UFC.
What do you mean, like fighting in the cage?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. That dude's been talking wild for a second.
That is perfect, man. Come back to what? Fight in a cage? Yeah, right. That guy's a joke. It was just a perfect response to that question. You know, Masvidal has mostly been respectful of Conor. Yeah, he said he thinks he's a beast for getting 2 titles, he likes his style, and he said he likes him as a person, or at least prefers him to Usman. But in the immediate aftermath of Nate, he wasn't interested in Conor. There was a sense, hey, forget that fool, this is a Masvidal show. Well, Conor absolutely returned serve at UFC 246. Masvidal showed up wearing Conor's robe, letting Conor know he's looking for that fight. Now, I fully expected McGregor to mention the BMF title in his Octagon interview, just because it makes so much sense. But McGregor kind of dismissed the idea that Masvidal was a foregone conclusion.
That fight interest you at all?
Yeah, of course. Let's see what happens. I'd like to scoop up that. That's not a great belt, is it? But I'll still take it. Add it to the list.
You know, McGregor once said that great line, winners focus on winning, losers focus on winners. And that is exactly the message McGregor sent Saturday. Jorge showed up to his fight, in his robe, and McGregor was hardly bothered to address him. He framed Jorge as having made a fool of himself.
If you look at it, it's like a Versace robe.
I know what it is. Why? So I don't know either, so I'm just whatever. I don't know what's going on tonight. It's a bit of a weird night. Wasn't it the 2 boys doing mad stuff? I don't know, man. Whatever. All the best to them. Talk about baloney. If you ask me, that was ridiculous. I didn't know what was going on there. Like I said, the old ladies in Ireland, they wear house coats watching the soap operas. So I'm like, what's this guy sitting in? I don't know. Whatever. All the best. Wasn't a good night for Jorge, if you ask me. But all the best to him. God loves a trier.
I love that last line from McGregor. Yeah, we've already had 2 brilliant sound bites from these two.
Wasn't a good night for Jorge, if you ask me. But all the best to him. God loves a trier.
And Dana White said...
Come back to what?
To MMA, to the UFC.
What do you mean, like fighting in the cage?
Yeah.
Brilliant. I think it's the obvious fight to make. They've largely been respectful of each other, which, as I've mentioned, I think suits McGregor at this point. You know, while Masvidal has taken shots, I doubt he'd get vicious. I don't see him rifling through McGregor's dirty laundry. And they've both said almost identical things with regards to wanting a quick turnaround. Conor said he wants the Khabib fight, but he's not waiting for it.
I gotta see what he wants to do. You know what I mean? I know he wants this fight, and I think he's willing to wait to get it.
I'm certainly not going to, if this fight does go ahead, sit out and wait and then wait for it through holidays and injuries and all this type of thing that goes with it. So the who doesn't matter for me now. It's just, I'm looking at dates now, and I know March was there, and I'm going to have a look at the calendar and see where we're at.
And Jorge said almost the exact same thing with regards to the Diaz brothers. Sure, I'll fight them, but I'm not waiting around here.
There was unfinished business with Nate.
I'm in for it though. I won't wait for a rematch. Whenever I get cleared, whoever's there that's available for me to fight and get the most money possible, that's whose head's coming off. Easy.
That was some buzz over Nick Diaz.
Like I said, I'm not waiting for nobody, man.
So they're both saying the exact same thing. Give me a fight now. McGregor said he wants nothing more than activity, 3 or 4 fights this year. For Masvidal, it's about making that money, striking while the iron is hot, and it has never been hotter. You know, I think prevailing wisdom suggests Jorge would be too big for Conor, and I'm sure he'd come in as a favorite. But seeing McGregor looking ferocious while demolishing Cerrone makes it a lot more interesting than it seemed 1 week ago. a potential barn burner between two of the most exciting fighters in the sport. Perfect timing too. I mean, Jorge's never been better. McGregor seems totally possessed. It's a total no-brainer. Anyway, this was McGregor's comeback, and it was spectacular. But how much can we really say based on his one win? I mean, nobody ever doubted the guy could fight, and while he looked amazing, he was expected to beat Cerrone. The question was more about, can he keep his head screwed on long enough to get his fighting career back on track and his very public, personal life in order? That revolves more around sidestepping self-destructive patterns of behavior and to a large degree avoiding the demon that is alcohol. Conor addressed this several times in the build-up and in the aftermath, when he described the manner in which he intended to celebrate his victory.
I'll be ready. I'll have a celebration tonight. I'll chill with my kids tomorrow. I'll show Junior the fight on the telly, see how he reacts to it, see what he thinks of it. And then back to training. Before the fight, you taper off for the final 2 weeks. So if you get a quick win and then you kind of go off, then all of a sudden it can be 4 weeks without a full training. You know what I mean? Without a real training session. And then you've slipped behind again. So I'm going to make sure not to do that and get a good session in the day after tomorrow and carry on.
We've seen videos of him celebrating in Vegas, and hey, good for him. But this to me is a thing to watch over the coming weeks and months. Will he blow off a lot of steam, the type that tends to get him in trouble? Or will he follow through on his promise, enjoy a more sensible, short-lived celebration, and get back to training? Because in light of everything that's happened in the last 12 months, I think only that represents a true victory for Conor McGregor. So we'll see.